What if you could buy land and pay less taxes? If you could cut your taxes in half or even eliminate them altogether, would that change what kind of property you are looking to buy? It is possible, but getting these exemptions in place as an afterthought can be pretty difficult and could take you years to accomplish. But if you plan ahead and you do your research, you could save yourself a lot of time, money, and headaches down the road. In this video, you'll discover 3 simple ways to slash your tax bill when buying land in the Texas Hill Country. Learn what to look for, how to find that info, and tips for current landowners to save big on taxes. Let's get started. Texas uses property taxes to fund public schools, which makes homeowner tax rates higher than in many other states. To help with this, the Texas Property Tax Code offers exemptions that reduce or even eliminate property taxes for certain people and properties. Imagine a year after buying your property, your home value doubles and you initially think, great, I just gained a ton of equity in my home. But not so fast. Guess what also happened? Your property taxes just doubled too. We live in the Texas Hill Country, and in 2021 to 2022, our property values doubled. And if we hadn't taken this first step, our property tax bill would have doubled as well. What this thing allows you to do is exclude a portion of the home's value from taxation. So your home is still worth the higher amount, you're just not paying taxes on the full value of the home. A general homestead exemption in Texas can lower the taxable value of your home by up to $100,000 and prevent the taxable value from increasing by more than 10% per year. You see, that's why it's best to have a homestead exemption in place. This is available to anyone in Texas, but can only be applied to your primary residence. Now let's look at what you should be looking for in a property so you can pay the least amount of taxes if you're looking to buy land. So how do you do that? Well, if the property you are looking at buying has more than 10 acres and has been or is currently used for income producing purposes, such as crop, livestock production, grazing, or beekeeping, it may already be receiving or eligible to receive this type of exemption. To qualify, the land has to have been used for these purposes for at least 5 of the last 7 years. However, if you think it's too much work to use this exemption, think again. In the Texas Hill Country, we have several neighborhoods that qualify for these unique exemptions and already have these tax-saving exemptions in place for the homeowners that live there. So what's the catch? And how do you maintain that exemption on your property once you buy it? Well, since the perimeters of the neighborhood are fully fenced and set up to accommodate the livestock, for example, exotic deer or longhorns, the developer has already met the requirements for the entire neighborhood to keep the agricultural exemption in place. In order to keep the entire neighborhood ag exempt, there are usually a few restrictions that property owners must be aware of. For example, the HOA might stipulate that the homeowners are not allowed to fence more than 1 acre of their property around their home. An owner with a primary residence on property that is zoned agricultural might have either a homestead exemption or an agriculture exemption, but cannot double up the exemption on a property. What happens if you have an ag exemption in place, but you don't want to be a rancher? Can you keep the tax savings? Well, there's 2 ways you can do this. If your neighbor has cows, you can let them graze on your property. Or there's another tax saving hacks you can switch to maintain your tax savings. So what does that entail? If your property already has an ag exemption, you can apply with the county to convert it to a newer exemption that will keep your taxes low while allowing you to shift your focus from farming and ranching to conserving the natural features of your property. It's a great option for those who want to preserve Texas's natural beauty without the upkeep of traditional agriculture. You'll need to implement at least 3 of the 7 approved wildlife management practices, like predator control, erosion management, or providing supplemental food and water, and submit a wildlife management plan to your county. It's more straightforward than it sounds, and many experts like Plateau Land and Wildlife will work with you to create a plan tailored to your property and lifestyle. This is called the Texas Wildlife Exemption. The best part? You're not just saving money, you're contributing to the conservation of Texas's incredible wildlife and open spaces. Now that's a win. Saving money on property taxes in the Hill Country starts with knowing the exemptions in your county, like agricultural, wildlife conservation, or homestead exemption. Check the property's current use and tax history to find ways to save. Sometimes you can buy land that already has exemptions. Just make sure you meet the rules to keep them by confirming with the seller and the local tax office. Rules for exemptions, like how much land you need or how it's used, can be different, so it's important to look into all the details. A local realtor who understands the area and its tax rules can make things easier. If you're thinking about buying land in the Texas Hill Country, contact me, Kristi Metcalf with Magnolia Realty, Austin Hill Country. I'm a Texas native and have been helping people buy and sell real estate for the last 6 years.